The twins breathe in sync, that soft, milk-warm rhythm that fills the room like a low hymn. I'm at the stove, stirring boxed mac and cheese, one eye on the clock, the other on their cribs. The steam fogs up the single window, and for a second, the whole apartment looks softer than it is. Then the radiator knocks twice, like it's reminding me this piece is rented. She left at midnight. No shouting, no scene. Just the sound of a zipper and her whisper to the dark, "I can't do this anymore." A suitcase rolled past the front door and I stayed frozen at the sink, holding a damp bottle, listening to her footsteps fade down the hall. By the time I looked outside, the parking lot was empty. She didn't even take the baby monitor charger. Morning came too soon. Bills stacked like dominoes on the counter, each one with red print that looked louder than any fight we ever had. My hours got cut last week. Seasonal slowdown, the manager said, like that explains formula and rent. I make lists now. Phone calls, agencies, side jobs, anything to keep the twins fed and warm. The smell of overcooked noodles mixes with baby lotion and cold air leaking from the window frame. I scribble another number on a scrap of mail. Child Care Assistance Line. The voice on the other end puts me on hold, plays a tune that sounds too cheerful for this kitchen. When they come back, it's another form, another waiting list. That's when Mrs. Lee from next door knocks, her hair wrapped, housecoat button wrong. She brings a pot of soup and says, "You can use the spare crib if you need." Her voice trembles, but her offer doesn't. Later, she mentions the church down the block has free dinners on Thursdays. I nod, ashamed of how fast my throat tightens. After she leaves, I clean the counter just to keep my hands busy. A folded bill slips loose from the pile. The envelope's got my name right, but the address, it's off by one number. Not this building, not this block. I hold it under the lamp, the paper thin enough to see something inside, something that might not be meant for me. The twins stir, and one lets out a sleepy cry, small but urgent. I set the envelope aside, promising myself I'll check it tomorrow. Only, I already know I won't sleep until I do.
The city hums like it never learned to sleep. My shift ends at 2 a.m., and I walk home under the buzz of streetlights, jacket zipped to my chin, work boots heady with fryer grease. The air smells like diesel and wet cardboard. Somewhere, a siren yarns awake. I count the blocks between me and the twins, whispering them like a prayer. The phone rings before I reach the door. Unknown number. I almost let it go, but something in me knows better. "Mr. Harris," a woman says, voice clipped and urgent. "One of your twins has a fever. We've been trying to reach you." My stomach drops so hard I forget to breathe. The night shift manager hates when I take calls. I left my phone in my locker, muted, buried under my wallet. The daycare's night staff says they've already called urgent care. I hear a faint whimper through the line. Maybe background noise, maybe my mind filling gaps. By the time I hang up, I'm half running. My boots slap the cracked sidewalk, breath sharp in the cold. I think about my boss's threat earlier. Miss another hour, you're off the schedule. But what's a schedule to a child burning up in his crib? The apartment smells of formula and damp laundry. The twins' cheeks shine with fever sweat. One's eyelids flutter. I press a cool cloth against his forehead, whisper nonsense words till his breathing slows. The radiator hisses again, as if listening in. At dawn, I call the manager. He doesn't yell, but his silence is worse. "Bring a doctor's note," he says, "and don't expect overtime this week." When he hangs up, I stare at the wall. Pale paint, spider cracks near the ceiling, and feel the air thicken. I rip my break card off the fridge, crumple it. No more waiting for permission to care. I map out a new routine on a napkin. Early drop-off, delivery shifts, night check-ins. My hands tremble, but not from fear anymore, from clarity. Every move from here on has to count. The sun sneaks through the blinds, and I can almost pretend it's a beginning, not another battle. Then someone knocks, hard, twice. The landlord's voice cuts through the door, low and rehearsed. "Rent notice, Mr. Harris. We need to talk."
The heater coughs once, then quits like it's out of fight. I sit up on the couch, blanket sliding off my shoulders, and see my breath float in the dark. Both twins start to cry at the same time, that sharp, echoing kind of cry that makes walls feel closer. I scoop one up, then the other, trying to keep them both warm with what little body heat I've got left. The kitchen clock ticks too loud. Payday was supposed to be yesterday, but the transfer didn't come through. I refreshed the banking app until the phone died, and the screen just stared back blank and judgmental. Rent's overdue, the fridge hums, mostly empty, and the air feels heavier than hunger. I tell myself I can fix it, that if I can just make it through one more week, something will break my way. But the truth is, I'm tired. Not just the kind of tired sleep fixes, but the kind that settles in your bones and rearranges your hope. In the bathroom mirror, I catch my own reflection. Eyes red, beard uneven, mouth tight. I turn on the tap, splash cold water on my face, and blink till the sting fades. Can't let the twins see me cracked. Can't let myself believe this is it. The city outside keeps moving. Bus brakes squeal, a bottle breaks, someone laughs too loud. I look out the window and see the neighbor's porch light glowing, soft and steady. Pride says stay silent. Survival says don't. I sit on the floor between the cribs, phone in hand, thumb hovering over the screen. Then I open the neighborhood app I've never used, the one with the smiling cartoon house on the icon, and type, "Single dad, 2 infants, heater out, paycheck delayed. Any advice or resources nearby?" I almost delete it. Then one of the twins sneezes, small and sudden, and I hit post. The clock ticks 5 more times before my phone buzzes. A new message. I have something that might help. No strings.
By the 3rd week, I moved through time in fragments. 15 minutes to nap, 10 to shower, 5 to pretend I'm fine. The twins nap in a rhythm only they understand, and I match my life to their breath. The coffee's bitter now. I don't bother sweetening it. The message from the app turned out to be from a retired nurse named Denise. She brought over a space heater that hums like a purring cat and left before I could thank her properly. She said, "Community's a verb, baby. You gotta let folks do it." I didn't argue. I just watched the twins sleep in warm air for the first time in days. Still, I can't shake the math. Even with her help, I'm running low. Every dollar I stretch sounds like fabric tearing. On my way to work, I stop at the clinic. The pediatrician says the twins' vaccination records are missing forms. "We can't schedule until it's cleared," she says, handing me a clipboard with pages that look like another language. At my night job, I read the forms under fluorescent light during my break. Line after line of check boxes, signatures, insurance codes. My eyelids droop, but my hand keeps moving. When the manager walks by, he eyes the papers. "That work stuff?" he asks. I nod. Let him think whatever makes him walk away. By the time I get home, I can barely lift the grocery bag. Ms. Lee meets me in the hallway and mentions a pastor who helps with paperwork. The next afternoon, I show up at the church office, walls lined with photos, smell of lemon cleaner and hymnals. The pastor reads the form slow, murmuring, "They don't make this easy, do they?" He circles a few lines, makes a call, and before I know it, we've got an appointment. For the first time in a while, I walk outside with my shoulders not fully tense. The air feels almost light. That night, I sign one last paper, a guardian form that gives me official custody until further notice. My hands shake over the signature. The weight of responsibility has never looked so official, so final. Then my phone dings. A new voicemail from an unknown number.
The voice slow and warm. "Mr. Harris, I heard about your situation through the church. Can we meet about some community support for the twins?"
Saturday feels different. Less like rest, more like a reprieve. The barbershop smells of talc, coffee, and clove oil. Clippers buzz and rhythm with gossip. I sit in the corner, twins at home with Mrs. Lee's niece, pretending I'm just here for a fade, not a lifeline. "Man, you look like you ain't slept since Easter," one of the barbers jokes, snapping his cape with flair. I laugh because that's what you do. Turn exhaustion into a punchline before it turns you into something else. Halfway through the cut, he slides a folded envelope into my palm. "Some of the fellas pitched in," he murmurs. No questions. My instinct is to give it back, but his stare makes me still. "You got babies. That's all that matters." I nod, voice stuck somewhere behind my ribs. The clippers hum again, and for a second, the room goes soft. Men talking about sports, rent, old records, each sound layered like a choir. The envelope burns in my pocket, equal parts mercy and shame. That evening, I carry the twins to the church basement where folding tables line up like long promises. The air smells like baked chicken and collard greens. Someone prays, someone laughs too loud, and for once, I let myself just listen. A deacon passes me a plate and says, "Eat first, we talk after." By dessert, my twins are passed between arms like sacred cargo. A woman with kind eyes, she says she volunteers with the youth program, leans in and asks quietly, "Do you need consistent childcare?" I hesitate. She nods towards the kitchen where older women pack leftovers. My aunt watches kids. She's retired, but she loves babies. There's something about how she says loves that feels more than an offer. I walk home full for the first time in weeks. Not just food, but something steadier. Still, when I lay the twins down, I check their breathing twice, like stability could disappear if I blink too long. The next morning, my phone buzzes with a new message. "Hi, this is Miss Ruby, the aunt. I'd love to meet the twins tomorrow if you're free."
Miss Ruby's living room smells like cinnamon and furniture polish. She's got gospel low on the radio and eyes that see through excuses. The twins take to her instantly, one tugging at her bracelet, the other babbling like they've known her forever. She laughs, a sound that fills the space the way sunlight fills cracked blinds. "You don't owe me nothing but honesty," she says, adjusting a baby's hat. "You need time to work? I got time to give." It should feel like relief, but it also feels like losing control. I've been holding everything together with the tension of my own hands, and letting go, even a little, feels like stepping off a ledge. That night, after the twins fall asleep, I clear the kitchen table and spread out every official envelope I've been avoiding. The light's yellow, the room too quiet. I read every line, whispering the words like they're in a foreign tongue. Custody petition, emergency assistance, proof of income. There's a section asking for other parent status. I stare at the blank box until it blurs. Her phone's still off. Her mother hasn't called back. I write unknown and feel both guilty and free. I take the stack to the social services office on my lunch break, the twins with Miss Ruby, apron still smelling of fryer oil. The caseworker, a young guy with tired eyes, slides me a paperclip. He says, "You qualify for expedited support. Typing fast. Single father cases move quicker. Sometimes." Sometimes. The word hangs there like a dare. He prints a checklist, tells me to sign twice, initial once. My hand cramps from all the pretending I understand. But when he looks up and says, "You're doing everything right," I almost believe him. On the way home, I treat myself to one bus ride instead of walking. The city outside the window looks different. Same skyline, but less like a cage. By midnight, my phone buzzes. An email. Conditional approval. Pending verification. The subject line glows blue in the dark. For once, the quiet feels like progress. Then I notice another message below it. No subject, just her name. The one who left.
Her email is short. "Glad you're managing. I'll send something when I can." No apology, No return date. I stare at it until the words lose shape. Then I close the laptop and let the silence decide what I won't say. The twins sleep in the new crib Miss Ruby's son built. White paint, still smelling fresh, sheets crisp from the church laundry drive. Their breathing steadies the room. I sit on the floor beside them, legs crossed, head bowed, and let the exhaustion settle like dust. For once, it's the good kind, the kind that means you did everything you could today. Morning light filters through the blinds like mercy. The daycare teacher calls later, her voice warm. They're curious, polite, and calm, she says. You're doing a great job, Dad. I don't cry until I hang up. It's quiet. Almost careful, like I don't want to wake the air. I remember every moment I thought I'd break. Every time I almost asked for too much. Every name I bit back in prayer. By week's end, the support check clears. I pay rent, restock the fridge, even buy new socks that don't slip at the heel. Miss Ruby hugs me and says, "See, God's math always balances out, just not when you want it to." I nod, but something in me shifts. I want more than surviving. I start looking at job boards between bottle washes and nap times, training programs, flexible hours, certifications I can finish online. A flyer taped to the laundromat wall catches my eye. Community Technical Skills Program, stipend available. That night, I apply. It feels reckless, but necessary. I list every shift, every odd job, every reason they shouldn't say no, and then I hit submit. Weeks later, I open the mailbox on a gray afternoon and see a thick envelope with my name printed clean and bold. Inside, an admission letter. A scholarship note stapled to the top. For a moment, I just stand there, paper trembling in my hands, the sound of kids playing down the block threading through the noise of my heart. The twins laugh inside the apartment, one of them saying my name for the first time, half-formed, perfect.
Mornings sound different now. Not quieter, just steadier. Cereal crunch, cartoon chatter, the hum of the fridge, no longer a threat, but a comfort. I pack lunches beside the twins, their small fingers smudging jelly on bread, and I realize this kitchen doesn't scare me anymore. The training program runs 3 nights a week. I clock out from work, grab a bus, and study code under flickering classroom lights. My brain protests at first, years of fatigue fighting every new word. But slowly, the logic starts to click. When I solve my first assignment, I snap a photo and send it to Miss Ruby. She replies with a row of clapping emojis and a simple, "Keep going, baby." Bills still come, but now they land in a rhythm I can manage. Rent's on time. The daycare smiles when I walk in. My manager, grudgingly impressed, starts giving me steadier shifts. The twins are learning to count, sometimes skipping numbers, sometimes shouting them in joy. Every sound feels like proof that we made it this far. One Saturday, the neighbor texted me a flyer. Community cookout, celebrating our own. I almost don't go. Pride's a hard habit to break. But by dusk, I'm standing in the courtyard while smoke from the grill twists into the sky. Someone hands me a paper plate. Someone else claps my shoulder and says, "You're the dad with the twins, right? Good to see you smiling." I nod, grin small. The music's loud, but the moment's quiet. This feeling of belonging after months of almosts. Later at home, I tuck the twins in and sit on the couch, scrolling through old photos. That first night alone, the broken heater, the envelopes. I think about all the hands that held us up when I was too tired to ask. The scholarship letter lies folded on the table next to my phone. I open the camera, flip it toward myself, and breathe once before hitting record. "Hey," I say, voice low but steady. "I'm not great at talking on camera, but I wanted to tell you, sometimes the smallest help can turn into a whole new life." The red light blinks.
My reflection in the dark screen looks like someone still learning how to believe in peace. I smile anyway.